In the heart of the Arabian Peninsula, where mountains guard secrets and trade routes connect civilizations, one man's faith would help transform the course of human history. His name was Abdullah ibn Abi Quhafa, but the world would come to know him as Abu Bakr, the father of Bakr, the truthful one, the first Caliph of Islam. This is not just his story. It is the story of a family, a daughter who would become the most influential woman in Islamic history, companions who shaped a faith, and descendants whose legacy echoes through 14 centuries. The year is 573 CE. Mecca is not yet the spiritual center it will become. It is a city of commerce, tribal politics, and ancient gods. The Kaaba houses 360 idols. Infant daughters are buried alive. Slavery is commonplace. Blood feuds span generations. Abu Bakr was born into privilege. The Banu Taym clan wasn't the most powerful in Mecca, but they were respected. His family were successful cloth merchants. From childhood, Abu Bakr learned the art of trade, negotiation, and perhaps most importantly, he learned to read people. By his 20s, Abu Bakr had earned something rare in tribal Arabia: universal respect. Tribes came to him to settle disputes. He was known for three things: his honesty, his generosity, and his dislike of Mecca's moral decay. What's remarkable about Abu Bakr before Islam is that he embodied many of the values Islam would later champion. He refused to drink alcohol, unusual in his society. He spoke out against the burial of infant girls. He used his wealth to free slaves. In many ways, he was already searching for something higher. And then, in the year 610, his closest friend, a man named Muhammad ibn Abdullah, would emerge from a cave on Mount Hira with a message that would change everything. What happened in this room would become one of Islam's most significant moments. Muhammad, troubled and uncertain, came to his friend with an extraordinary claim: an angel had appeared to him, calling him to prophethood. Different people reacted differently to Muhammad's message. Some mocked, some waited to see proof, some hedged their bets. Abu Bakr's response was immediate and absolute: I believe you. This is why he's called, as Siddiq, the truthful one, the one who confirmed the truth. He was the first adult male to accept Islam, not because of miracles or signs, but because of something deeper: 38 years of friendship and an unshakable knowledge of Muhammad's character. Abu Bakr became Islam's first missionary. He was wealthy, respected, and persuasive. He brought in some of the faith's most important early converts: Uthman ibn Affan, Talha, Zubair, Sa'd ibn Abi Waqqas. These men would become pillars of the Muslim community. But acceptance came at a price. Mecca's elite saw Islam as a threat to their power, the gods, and their lucrative pilgrimage economy. Persecution began. Abu Bakr did what he had always done. He opened his purse. One by one, he purchased enslaved Muslims and freed them. Bilal ibn Rabah, tortured with a boulder on his chest under the desert sun. Amir ibn Fuhaira, beaten daily. Lubayna and Nadia, enslaved women with no protectors. Abu Bakr spent almost his entire fortune freeing slaves. His father once scolded him, saying, "Why do you free the weak ones? Free the strong who can protect you." Abu Bakr replied, "Father, I'm seeking God's face, not protection." His faith was reshaping not just his life, but his family's. His wife Rahman accepted Islam. His children would grow up in this new faith, and his daughter Aisha would witness history from the closest possible vantage point. The year is 622. The persecution has become unbearable. Plots to assassinate Muhammad are underway. The decision is made: the Muslims must leave Mecca. They will migrate north to Yathrib, later known as Medina. Muhammad chose one companion for this dangerous journey. Not the strongest warrior, not the wealthiest supporter, but the friend whose faith had never wavered. The Hijra, the migration, wasn't just a historical event. It's so significant that it marks year zero of the Islamic calendar. And at the heart of this pivotal moment is Abu Bakr. For 3 days and nights, they hid in a cave while Meccan trackers searched for them. During this perilous journey, Asma, Abu Bakr's first daughter, demonstrated remarkable bravery by secretly preparing and delivering food, water, and supplies to the two men while they hid in the cave of Thawr for 3 days to evade Quraysh pursuers. She traveled several miles at night to reach the cave, risking capture and torture, and even tore her girdle belt into 2 pieces to tie the provisions securely, earning her the nickname Dat al-Nitakan, she of the 2 belts. When confronted by Abu Jahl and other Meccan searchers at her home, Asma cleverly misled him about her father's whereabouts, enduring physical abuse in the process without revealing any information. Legend says a spider wove a web across the entrance. But the real miracle was quieter. It was the faith of a man sitting in darkness, believing in tomorrow. Quoting, "We are only 2, Abu Bakr said. Muhammad replied, "No, we are 3, for God is with us." Medina was different. Here, Muslims could practice openly, build institutions, and create a new kind of society. And beside the Prophet, as always, was Abu Bakr. Abu Bakr became what we might call the Prophet's chief operating officer. When Muhammad led prayers, Abu Bakr stood in the front row. When Muhammad was away, Abu Bakr led the prayers. When decisions needed making, Muhammad consulted him. But Medina was not paradise. The Meccans had not forgiven the Muslims for leaving. War was coming. 624 CE. The Battle of Badr, the first major military engagement of Islam. Father faced son across a battlefield. Imagine that moment, your son fighting against everything you believe in. Abu Bakr later said he saw Abdul Rahman in battle and held back, hoping not to harm him. After Abdul Rahman converted to Islam, he said to his father, "You were in my sights at Badr, but I turned away." Abu Bakr replied, "But I would not have turned away from you." It speaks to the totality of his commitment. Faith came first, even before family. At Badr and every battle that followed, Uhud, the trench, Hunain, Abu Bakr's role was constant, shield the Prophet. In the thick of combat, when others might flee, Abu Bakr remained. There's a hadith where the Prophet says, "Is there anyone among you who has done me a favor that I have not repaid?" Abu Bakr said nothing, but he knew. He had sacrificed his wealth, risked his life, given everything. And the Prophet knew too. That's why he said, "If I were to take a Khalil, an intimate friend, it would be Abu Bakr." While Abu Bakr stood beside the Prophet in war councils and mosques, his daughter Aisha occupied an equally important space in the Prophet's home, where she became one of Islam's greatest scholars. Aisha married the Prophet when she was young, but she was brilliant, curious, sharp, with a phenomenal memory. After the Prophet's death, she became one of the primary sources of Islamic knowledge. She narrated over 2,000 hadiths, teachings of the Prophet. She corrected the male companions when they misremembered details. She issued legal rulings. She taught thousands. Scholars traveled across the desert just to sit at her feet. What's significant is that Abu Bakr raised a daughter who became a religious authority in her own right. In a patriarchal society, this tells us something important about the values in that household. Education, intelligence, and women's voices were respected. The scholar Imam al-Zuri would later say that if the knowledge of Aisha were to be gathered and compared to the knowledge of all other women, Aisha's knowledge would be superior. Abu Bakr's legacy would be preserved not just through his deeds, but through his daughter's mind. In the spring of 632, Abu Bakr fell seriously ill. Muhammad visited him every day, praying for his recovery. Abu Bakr did recover, but within weeks, it was Muhammad who fell ill. During the Prophet's final illness, something extraordinary happened. Muhammad, too weak to lead prayers, appointed Abu Bakr to lead them in his place. To lead the prayers of the Prophet himself, this was an unmistakable signal of who Muhammad trusted most. 632 CE, in the arms of his beloved wife Aisha, Abu Bakr's daughter, Muhammad died. The Islamic world stood at a precipice. Who would lead? How could anyone replace a prophet? One man kept his composure. One man knew what had to be done. Quoting Abu Bakr's speech, "Whoever worshipped Muhammad, let him know that Muhammad is dead. But whoever worshipped Allah, let him know that Allah is alive and never dies. It was Islam's first constitutional crisis. The answer, Medina's original Muslims, believed one of them should lead. The Muhajirin, the Meccan migrants, believed the leader should come from the Prophet's tribe. Voices were raised, tensions ran high, the community could fracture. Abu Bakr did something remarkable at Saqifa. He nominated Omar ibn al-Khattab, a younger, stronger man, for leadership. He was willing to step aside, but Omar refused, saying, "How can I lead when the Prophet appointed you to lead prayers?" The title chosen was Caliphate Rasul Allah, the successor of the Messenger of Allah. Caliph. At 60 years old, Abu Bakr became the first. The next morning, he addressed the people with words that would define Islamic governance. Quoting, "I have been given authority over you, but I am not the best of you. If I do well, help me. If I do wrong, correct me. The weak among you are strong in my eyes until I return to them their rights. The strong among you are weak in my eyes until I take from them what is due. Obey me as long as I obey Allah and His Messenger. If I disobey them, you owe me no obedience." This speech is revolutionary. A leader saying, "I'm not infallible, correct me, obey me only if I'm just." This established principles of accountable leadership in Islam from day one. But words weren't enough. Within weeks, Arabia erupted in rebellion. Tribes that had submitted to the Prophet now saw his death as releasing them from obligation. Some refused to pay zakat. Others followed false prophets. The Islamic State faced extinction. Omar counseled compromise. Others agreed. They were too few, too vulnerable. They should negotiate. Abu Bakr refused. Quoting by Allah,
يا كريما منه قرآن كريم رتلى القلب سطورا من ضياء راجيا أن يغسل الذنب العظيم يا إله الكون يا المولى العظيم يا كريما منه قرآن كريم رتلا.
General after general was dispatched. Khalid ibn al-Walid, the Sword of Allah. Shurahbil ibn Hassana, Amr ibn al-As, young commanders who would become legendary. They won battle after battle, not through superior numbers, but through conviction and strategy. Within a year, Arabia was reunified. The Islamic State had survived its first existential test. But Abu Bakr didn't stop there. With Arabia secured, Abu Bakr made a decision that would reshape world history. He sent armies north, toward the superpowers of the age, the Byzantine Roman Empire and Sasanian Persia. This seems almost suicidal on paper. Arabia was poor, tribal, recently at war with itself. Rome and Persia had been dominant for centuries. They had professional armies, advanced weaponry, vast treasuries. What was Abu Bakr thinking? His generals questioned him. His advisors worried. But Abu Bakr saw what they didn't. Both empires were exhausted from fighting each other. Their people were heavily taxed. Religious minorities faced persecution. The time was right. In battle after battle, the impossible happened. The Muslims won, not because they were stronger, but because they believed in something more than their own survival. What's often forgotten is how Abu Bakr instructed his armies to behave. He gave them 10 rules: don't kill women, children, or elderly. Don't cut down trees. Don't destroy buildings. Don't harm priests or monks. These were revolutionary rules of engagement. The expansion would continue long after his death, but Abu Bakr had set it in motion. He had transformed a religious community into a political and military force capable of changing civilizations. In 634 CE, just over 2 years after becoming caliph, Abu Bakr fell ill. He knew he was dying. There was one final responsibility to fulfill. He designated Omar as his successor, avoiding another succession crisis. He distributed his modest possessions. He had almost nothing, most of his wealth had been given away over the decades. There's a beautiful hadith where Abu Bakr, on his deathbed, looks at a garment he's wearing and says, "Wash this and use it for my burial shroud." The living have more need of new clothes than the dead. To his daughter Aisha, he left the greatest gift he had given her in life, knowledge and the courage to use it. 634 CE, Abu Bakr died. He was 63 years old, the same age as the Prophet. He had been Caliph for only 2 years, 2 months, and 14 days. But in that brief time, he had changed everything. Abu Bakr's death was not the end of his family's influence. It was, in some ways, just the beginning. Aisha lived for 44 years after her father's death. She became one of the most influential scholars of the first Islamic century. Muslim scholars call her the mother of believers and the greatest female jurist of Islam. She preserved over 2,000 hadiths, direct teachings from the Prophet. A quarter of Islamic law is based on narrations from her. She was consulted by caliphs and commanders. She challenged injustice, even when it meant confronting powerful men. Her most controversial moment came in 656, when she led opposition forces in what became known as the Battle of the Camel. It was a civil war within Islam, tragic and complex. Aisha later expressed deep regret over the conflict. The Battle of the Camel is often used either to criticize Aisha or to celebrate her political agency. The truth is more nuanced. She was trying to prevent civil war and seek justice for an assassinated caliph, but the situation spiraled beyond anyone's control. What matters is that she spent the rest of her life promoting reconciliation and unity. She lived to be 65, spending her final decades in scholarship and devotion. When she died in 678, Islam lost one of its last direct links to the Prophet. Abu Bakr's other children continued the family tradition of faith and service. His son Abdul Rahman became a respected companion. His daughter Asma, known as the Woman of the Two Belts, lived to be 100 years old and was renowned for her strength and piety. Today, nearly 1.9 billion Muslims around the world inherit something from Abu Bakr, not just historical facts, but a model of faith. When Muslims study Abu Bakr's life, we see several key principles. First, immediate and unwavering faith when you recognize truth. Second, sacrifice of wealth and comfort for principles. Third, loyalty. He stood by the Prophet in the hardest moments. Fourth, humility despite being the first caliph, but also political courage. Abu Bakr wasn't perfect, no human is. But when he believed something was right, he didn't compromise for convenience. During the Ridda Wars, when everyone advised caution, he held the line. Leadership sometimes requires the courage to stand alone. For Muslim women especially, Aisha's legacy is profound. She demonstrates that Islamic scholarship isn't gendered. Knowledge, authority, and religious understanding are for everyone. That's Abu Bakr's legacy too. He raised a daughter to be a scholar in a society that didn't always value women's education. 14 centuries later, his name is still spoken with reverence. Mosques bear his name. Children are named after him. His title, as Siddiq, the truthful one, remains his defining characteristic. But we should not romanticize. Abu Bakr's choices came with profound personal costs. He spent his fortune. His family lived modestly while he gave everything to the cause. He faced his own son in battle. He made military decisions that cost lives. As caliph, he carried the weight of thousands of souls. Faith didn't make these choices painless. It made them necessary. He was a man of deep emotion who wept easily. Yet he made decisions that required absolute resolve. That tension, between a tender heart and an iron will, defined him. In Medina today, millions of pilgrims visit the Prophet's mosque each year. They come to pray, to seek blessing, to connect with sacred history. Within the mosque lies a chamber. Inside are 3 graves. Muhammad in the center. To his right, Abu Bakr. To Abu Bakr's right, Omar ibn al-Khattab. 3 friends who changed the world. Three men who began a movement that would spread across continents and endure across centuries. Together in life, together in death. When we ask what Abu Bakr's legacy is, it's not just about historical events. It's about showing what faith looks like when it's truly lived. Not faith that's convenient, but faith that's costly. Not faith that's passive, but faith that changes the world. Abu Bakr never claimed perfection. He never sought glory. He was, by his own admission, just a merchant from Mecca who recognized truth when he heard it and spent his life serving it. He gave his wealth when wealth mattered. He gave his courage when courage was scarce. He gave his faith when faith could cost everything. And he raised a family that would carry those values forward. Some legacies are measured in monuments. Abu Bakr's legacy is measured in principles: justice, sacrifice, knowledge, and unshakable faith. Principles that 1.9 billion people still strive to embody. Abdullah ibn Abi Quhafa, Abu Bakr as-Siddiq, the faithful companion. His story is not just history. For millions, it remains a living example of what it means to believe. The best among you are those who are best to their families. Prophet Muhammad. Kindly subscribe to the Muslim Millennium for more Islamic history, stories of the prophets and the Sahaba. Jazakumullahu khairan. Turn on post notification for get post.